Look at your goofy ass. Look at your goofy ass. 33 years old, man. I turned 34 on July 31st. I'm a Leo. As you already know, if y'all been paying attention to my videos, I'm a Leo, 33, man. And I'm in my 30s and I ain't got no friends. I live in New York City and I ain't got no friends. I thought I had friends when I was with my ex for 6 years. I had friends around that time. I thought they were my friends, but when I went through my breakup, I ain't heard from them since. Who knows? Maybe it's because at that time we were living in a nice luxury apartment. So the friends that I did have, they would love to come over, hit me up all the time. But when I went through my breakup, crickets. As you get older, you're going to outgrow a lot of friends in your life. You may be solo dolo too. You may be at a place in your life where you're working so hard right now to build because you wasted so much time in your 20s. Now you're trying to focus on building, making this money, retirement, and then you don't have time to really join any clubs, make new friends because you're focused on the money. And that's okay. Just because you have no friends, you're not a loser. I'm always going to be real and direct with y'all. Even about my failures, my shortcomings in life, I ain't got no friends, man. It is what it is. But I embrace being alone. I'm not desperate for friendship. If I meet some new friends, cool. I feel like I do got some friends on my Patreon. The guys, we got a live chat. I talk to them all the time. I feel like you guys are my friends. But yeah, man, I'm in New York City and I ain't got no friends. But it's not a death sentence. I'm not embarrassed by it. I know a lot of people, there are some people writing in the comments on my other videos saying that this guy has no friends. That's how can you be successful with no friends? But it's like, okay, what's your definition of success? A lot of people outgrow a lot of friends. I had one close friend a couple of years ago. He was close. He got married and we weren't hanging out as much. He used to tell me all the time, well, being single is pretty lonely. That's a lonely way to live. And he got married. And sometimes I think that his wife runs things. Last time we talked, he moved to Texas during the pandemic because it was COVID. He moved to Texas from New York. And the last time we talked, man, he was going through it. His wife lost his job, so now the pressure's all on him. And I don't know, for them to be going through what they're going through right now in Texas, how do you move from New York, where it's more expensive, to kind of stressed and going through it in Texas when New York is crazy expensive? But we haven't talked since. You know, he's married, and I'm pretty sure that they want to hang around married people. You probably have friends like that. You were friends with some dude. Once he got into a relationship, he was focused on the relationship, cut you out. But then when they go through a breakup, they want to hit you up. It happens all the time. You probably got some friends who got married and they're simps. Not all married people are simps, but his wife comes first, which I understand. But he's not prioritizing your friendship. And I get it. He's married. He probably has a family. You guys kind of grew apart. You're going to outgrow a lot of people. Most friends are only meant to be in your life for a season, not a lifetime. When I moved to New York, I had FOMO. I had a fear of missing out. I attracted a lot of not so good friends in my life. And I kept them around because I didn't want to feel like a loser. I wasn't, even though deep down I'm a loner, but I had the mindset like, how can I be in New York with no friends? It's embarrassing. So I kept a lot of friends in my life who were not really my friends. They never looked out for my best interests. I always done more for them. Giving them money when they asked for some money, helping them out, and never got anything in return, you know? And I'm not talking about the money back, but just, just a basic friendship, you know? But when you're in New York, and at that time I was pursuing acting, so I'm attracting a lot of fake, phony friends. When you're pursuing acting, when you're in the arts, all these friends are fake as fuck. They only care about what you can do for them. Or did you book a project? That's a recurring conversation. Every time I had like actor friends, they don't ask, how are you doing? How are you doing? I just want to check up on you. Oh, what have you booked? Have you booked a project? Have you had any auditions? I haven't had an audition in a couple of weeks. My manager, blah, blah, blah. Oh, is your manager signing anybody? It's all about, it's kind of like a transactional friendship, you know? And it was depressing. I was pursuing acting, not getting no traction, pursuing acting, and then I have fake ass friends. So I was just not in a good headspace, you know, attracting a lot of fake friends, and I should have just embraced being alone by myself, you know. I came across a lot of people. When you book a project, hit me up so we can get lunch. I dealt with that here in New York. I don't know if it's like that in LA. I heard it's 10 times worse, but that's how it was, man. That's how it was. I had a lot of friends in my life that weren't good for me, but I kept them around. I went above and beyond because I don't want to feel like a loser by not having any friends, which that was stupid. As you grow older, that you got to grow out of that. You have to grow out of being a people pleaser. You have to grow out of always trying to make people happy. You need to live for yourself and you need to be selfish. Most of us are not selfish enough, but we learn from our mistakes. I learned from my mistakes. Where did that bring me? When I was putting all my friends on a pedestal, I was going above and beyond for these friends, even though they didn't give a shit about me. Yeah, those friendships, yeah, dunzo. Dunzo. And I think that's why it was kind of tough for me going through my breakup because my ex that was my best friend. We were just clicked up like that. But as you get older, you're going to have to you may outgrow a lot of friendships, but don't have any anger in your heart towards that. Just know that some people are only meant to be in your life for a season, not a lifetime. As you get older, there are more important things to be worried about than just friendships that fizzled out, friendships that you guys outgrew each other. Just there's more important things to worry about as you get older. Retirement, money, getting this money, building. Because in our 20s, we waste a lot of fucking time thinking we have enough time to just fuck around, and we don't. In our 20s, we waste our time with friends who brought us no value, friends who wasted our times. We wasted our time with women who used us, shitty ass relationships, shitty ass friendships. Yeah, we had all that time to waste, but when you hit your 30s, man, you got to outgrow that. Outgrow that. A dude wrote in the comments section was like, no, it's all about having your circle of friends. Like if you don't have a circle, you don't have anything. I think that's bullshit. If you can't do shit on your own, then what are you? You're not a strong man. There's a lot of guys who are loners right now. There's a lot of guys who don't have friends. There's a lot of guys out there who are introverts. And you're not a loser for not having no friends. You master the art of being by yourself. You embrace being alone and you're comfortable in your skin. And who knows, you may find new friends as you get older. I'm only 33, about to turn 34 on July 31st. Pretty sure I'll meet some new friends in the future, but I've been so busy. I'm focused on me right now, putting myself first. I'm not going to go above and beyond for people anymore. I'm focused on me and I have every right to be selfish. I'm not going to go out of my way for anybody. Not a woman, not a friend, not no friendships, none of that. But there's nothing, man, I'm telling you, man, there's nothing wrong with not having any friends. But put yourself out there if you can. If you have extra time, join a run club, find some new hobbies. You may make some new friends in these clubs, but you're not a loser for not having no friends. You're not a loser. You're comfortable in your skin. You don't kiss ass. You are not a follower. You're a leader. Yeah. I think we come across a lot of people in our lives who are followers. They're not leaders. You probably had an ex who was a follower instead of a leader. She never had a mind of her own. Listening to her girlfriends, letting her girlfriends come into your relationship. She always caring about what other people thought. Always focused on posting shit on Instagram, even though y'all not living that life like that. But she wanted to impress other people because she is a follower. She's not a leader. She's not comfortable in your own skin. That's one thing you got to look at if you're looking for a woman. See if she's a follower. If she's not a leader, if she doesn't have a mind of her own, it's going to be a waste of your time. You don't need a weak-minded woman like that, because that's going to be a miserable relationship. Instead of talking to you, working on your relationship, she's just going to go to her girlfriends and her dumbass friends who don't know shit, and they're going to give her bad advice to fuck up your relationship. Who knows? You may need to meet, like, if you don't want to hold the line, you want to put yourself out there. Who knows? You may meet another girl who's an introvert too. You may meet another girl who's an introvert, who doesn't have as many friends as you know? But you're not a loser for not having friends. A lot of guys get in this mindset, they're depressed, sad because they don't have that friend circle. They don't have a foundation of friends that they can rely on and talk to. But we've all been in this situation when we went through a breakup and the friends we thought were our friends, nowhere to be found when we go through that breakup. And it's like, the fuck? But that's how it's going to be. When you go through a breakup, you may not think it now, but you ask any guy who's been through ask any guy who's been through a divorce, ask any guy who's been through a breakup. And this was a long relationship over 6, 7, 8 years. The friend circle y'all had, they are gonna pick sides. It happens all the time. I didn't think that, but they are going to pick sides. And 9 out of 10, they're gonna go on your girl side. Because in society, women can do no wrong. Even though they are the reason that the relationship is over. But it is okay. I embrace being alone, focused on me, and you need to just enjoy doing things by yourself. Don't be afraid to take yourself out to eat. Don't be afraid to solo travel. A lot of us are scared to solo travel. Travel. Do something for you. Buy that motorcycle you want to buy. But treat yourself. You've been stacking your money. You've been doing good. You've been staying off the dating apps. You've been focused on you. You've been holding the line. You need to treat yourself. Because you probably lived your life putting your ex on a pedestal, going above and beyond for these friendships that did not fulfill you. These friends were dead weight. These friends were broke, always broke, asking you for money, living off of women, doing dumb shit. They're still chasing pussy in their 30s and 40s, even though they ain't got no damn money. And sometimes you got to look at your circle, be like, do I have a bunch of dumbasses as friends? Because if you have a whole bunch of broke loser friends who ain't doing shit, you're going to be just like them. Your friendships are a representation of you. So if you got a lot of dumbass friends who are broke, ain't doing shit, you don't need them. I hung around a bad group of people when I was in high school in Georgia. The friend circle I had, they were all going to jail all the time, doing dumb shit, selling weed and drugs and shit, wanting to be about that life. I outgrew that shit. I had one friend, a close friend, but he ended up going to prison for a home invasion. And I had another friend that I was close to in Georgia. The last time I went to visit my mom, we caught up and we were talking, and this dude got 5 kids by 2 different women. And I'm like, damn, bro, you having all these kids. How are you able to afford them? He said, nigga, government assistance. And that was the last. And it's funny. That's not the last time we talked. He called me out of the blue. This dude called me out of the blue. Has 5 kids by 2 different women. He asked me for $20. What can you get for $20? And what you called me out of the blue, bro. And he asked me for $20. And I was like, what, bro? And I was like, let me call you back, bro, because I'm doing something. And I never called him back. Either you want to try to elevate, grow, boss up, work on self-improvement, or you want to just stay stagnant and do dumb shit like that. 5 kids, he's going to be broke. And I don't even think he was working at the time, man. But we all probably have friends like that in high school, friends that were no good for us, just doing dumb shit. And you look back at their lives right now, I'm 33, and they're not. You over here thinking that you're depressed because you ain't got no family and kids and shit, and it's just you. But these dudes are struggling paying the bills, struggling to survive with multiple kids. And you over here depressed when you ain't got nothing to be depressed about, man. What got me out of depression, too, is I know there's somebody who has it worse than me, bro. that always got me out of depression. It's like, all I gotta do is take care of myself. It's just me. I would be really depressed if I had kids right now. But all I gotta do is take care of myself. I haven't been depressed in a long time, but it's like, you have to have that mindset sometimes. Like, okay, why am I depressed? It's okay. I may be alone. I'm not dating. I'm focused on myself. Like, what's there to be depressed about? But a lot of guys who are lonely too, they haven't mastered the art of being by themselves. They will be desperate for love, because I was desperate for a relationship when I didn't know myself, when I did not want to be alone. And I think at that time, for a lot of New Yorkers, like when you move to New York, I wasn't blessed with living in a nice apartment. I was living in a shitty apartment when I first moved to New York. My rent was $600 for a room in Harlem. So you can, if that cheap, right? So you can only imagine how bad that apartment was if it was $600. So at that time, I think I'm so desperate to always just not be at home. I was working a lot, but still I always wanted to be out. I wanted to be out and about. I wanted to jump into a relationship because my self-esteem was low. And then I'm living in a shitty apartment. I don't want to be there, so I'd rather just be with a woman, but that was stupid. I was attracting the wrong type of women when I should have just been focused on myself. When you act out of desperation, nothing good comes out of it. And those are the mistakes I made. I was desperate for love. I was desperate for a relationship in the past. But you have to come to a point where you're going to have to outgrow that shit. No woman's going to fulfill your life. No woman's going to make you happy. You have to find that within yourself, because if you're so desperate, you're just going to continue to attract women who are going to take advantage of you and waste your fucking time. Then a lot of men they be making these dumbass mistakes, getting these women pregnant, and now you're stuck. And it's not just 18 years, because there's a lot of you got people who are between the age of 24 to 30 still living at home with your parents. So that may be your situation with your kids. They may be still living with you in their 30s. And you're still going to be taking care of them. Like, it doesn't just stop at 18, bro. So embrace being alone, because when you do shit out of desperation and you're alone, you're going to just attract problems into your life, unnecessary drama that you do not need. Embrace being alone. There ain't nothing wrong with having no friends, bro. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather have no friends than half-ass friends in my life who bring me no value, don't have my best interests, who do not even have my back. No, I'd rather just be by myself. And I think because when you live in a city like New York, it's a jungle. It's like everyone's grinding 24/7. So a lot of people value their time better too. I think that's similar to LA. You don't want to hang around people who you feel like you can't benefit from, which is fucked up. I don't think that's right, but I feel like New York and LA kind of have some similarities. Maybe because I had fake ass acting friends in the past, but you have people who only care about, okay, what do you do for a living? Okay, I need to hang out with you because you look like you're doing something. It's all about status. Everyone's on the go. It's a grind. This is the city that never sleeps. Yeah, man, if they feel like you ain't got no motion, they don't want to grab coffee, grab drinks with you. They don't. Like, I had one close friend, but he got married and he moved to Texas. So we're not close like that anymore. He's married. He's focused on married life, and he has a lot on his plate. His wife just lost her job, so he's stressed with just paying for everything. Everything's on him now. So friends is the last thing he needs to worry about. He's married and he has a wife and home to support. So, but I don't blame him, because when people get married and they get into relationships, they're not going to want to hang around single friends like that. And that happens for both men and women. It just happens because you're prioritizing your relationship. That's important to you. You're going to want to hang out with people. You like, people do this when they get into relationships, marriage or whatever. They want to hang out with other couples. They don't want to hang out with singles, which I totally understand this. If you want to do that, fine, But you're going to outgrow a lot of friendships as you get older. You may be solo dolo for a bit, but don't let that tear you down. Don't let that make you depressed. Just keep your head up, man. It's better to have no friends than half-assed friends. You going above and beyond. traveling hours to see this person who don't even give a shit about you. But we've all made that mistake in the past. When we were desperate, we were lonely, we've all made that mistake. Dealing with friends they didn't have our best interest. They were dead weight. It is okay to be alone. It's okay to be solo dolo, focused on you. You're not a loser. People keep on it's insane. Like you have immature people like that. Oh, something's wrong with you because you don't have no friends. You probably got a whole bunch of broke, dumb, loser friends. All of y'all, 30, 40 years old, still live at home with your parents. That's what y'all got in common. Y'all living off of your parents, not doing shit. You guys never moved out of your hometown. Say what you want about me not having friends. Cool, it's cool. But I'm living in my truth. It is what it is. I'm in New York City. I ain't got no friends. It is what it is. I'm not ashamed of it. But I'm not like some of these guys out here who stayed in their hometown, never tried to do anything with their life. Stayed in the same hometown. You've been living there forever. I was born in Oceanside, California, moved to Georgia for high school. After high school, I got the fuck out and took a chance and moved to New York with $1,200. I didn't stay in my hometown. I didn't be living with my mama and shit as a grown-ass man. You need to master the art of being by yourself. There's nothing wrong. You're not a loser, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because, women do this thing where I saw this woman talk about this on TikTok. She said a red flag for guys are if they don't have no friends. But a lot of these women have a lot of dumbass female hoe friends who do dumb shit and they influence her. So you got a bunch of dumb motherfuckers as your friends who are bad influences because you don't know how to be by yourself and pick better friends. It's better to be alone than have some fuck ups as friends, as your circle. And these are the main women fucking up their relationship, giving them horrible advice. There's a lot of women like that. But you are not a loser for not having no friends. Continue to hold the line, focus on you, and you got this. Peace.